Hey guys, I have the most amazing news to share. We're having a baby. I know, big surprise, but really the surprising part is that we are gonna have our baby in our arms within the next couple of months. It has been so hard not to share this news because I am just over the moon, overjoyed, like bursting with excitement. But really, at the same time, it was an easy choice because I've just been so protective over this process and it hasn't been easy. If you've been with my channel any length of time at all, you know I'm no stranger to sharing parts of my life that maybe a lot of people don't have experience with, like infertility, IVF, and motherhood with a rare disorder, and now having my second child with the help of the most amazing surrogate. So your first question might be, why? Understandable. Long story short, I'm gonna actually try to keep the long story short. Back in 2022, late 2022, Grant and I were finally feeling ready to start the process towards another embryo transfer. If you don't know, we did IVF, and that's how we had my daughter Lucy. So we found a fertility doctor here in Houston that we heard nothing but good things about. But first, before we saw that fertility doctor, I need to have a meeting with my rheumatologist. If you don't know, I have cutaneous lupus, and I've been really, really lucky with my lupus ever since diagnosis. It's been very well controlled with daily medication and also just like lifestyle changes, like staying out of the sun, for example. And it's been very well controlled for over a decade, and that all changed in pregnancy. I talked about this all along the way while I was vlogging during IVF and pregnancy, and I knew any autoimmune disorder can be completely thrown for a loop with pregnancy. It can get a lot worse, it can actually stay the same, and strangely, it can also get better. I've heard a lot of stories like that. So I chose to take that risk, and about halfway through pregnancy, my lupus got worse. Since then, about 3 years later, it's still not under control. We've tried different meds, different modifications, and nothing's worked. So despite all this, back in 2022, I was going to my rheumatologist wanting her blessing to do another transfer. I really just wanted to hear her say, I've seen this before. Your lupus isn't going to get worse. Your lupus isn't going to become systemic and drastically impact your health. Because what I need more than anything is to stay healthy and strong for Lucy so I can take care of her. And I'm sure you can guess she couldn't give me that reassurance. And she actually just gave me a lot of warnings considering what happened in my first pregnancy and my family history with autoimmune disorders. It was just a lot of concern and a lot of warnings. So once I realized this conversation was not going where I wanted it to, I just made a joke, or it felt like a joke to me. I kind of just laughed it off and I said, it's almost like I need a surrogate. And she looked at me completely seriously and said, actually, that's the smartest thing you could do. And I did it twice. And then she told me her whole story. And she had been through so much to have her family. And I was just barely holding in tears. And, she's met Lucy and she knows our story. And she took the time to tell me about her experience. And it's like it kind of opened the possibility in my mind. It definitely felt totally out of reach still, but so did pregnancy at this point. So basically, that's our why. Another pregnancy would be way too risky for my health, and I have to prioritize my health because I need to be as close to 100% as I can be to take care of Lucy. So obviously, there's a lot more to the story. So much has happened between today and 2022 to get us to this point. So backing up to that appointment day, I got out and I talked to Grant and I told him the whole story, told him everything she said to me, and I completely expected him to have the exact same attitude that I did, just kind of laughing it off. But when he heard that she said, that's the smartest thing you can do, he just immediately said, that's what we have to do. And I was just blown away by this. And I could go on and on forever about this man, but I don't have to because you guys have seen it in real time. He shows up for me and Lucy every day. He is so strong for us. And I am just so blessed to be married to a man like Grant. And I'm convinced there is no one else like him out there. I never could have guessed all the things that we had in front of us when we got married. But I am so, so, so proud of him and lucky to be with him because he is just so strong and so encouraging. He could have very easily just laughed it off right along with me. He could have encouraged me to go ahead with the pregnancy and take that risk again. He could have also been completely crushed by having yet another challenge, yet another hurdle that we have to take on that most people don't to have their family. And I'll stop going on, but I just appreciate him so much. And that response just kind of says all that needs to be said. Speeding up the story a little bit, we did go ahead and meet with that fertility doctor that we found here in Houston and just talked about the whole situation, everything the rheumatologist said, and he agreed completely and said, you are basically the textbook example of someone that needs to have their baby through surrogacy. And we went ahead and talked to their department that deals with that kind of thing. They gave us a lot of information, a lot of advice. They pointed us in the right direction. And we started the process. At times, especially in the beginning, it felt really scary and my heart was hurting just because I didn't see this in my future. You know, in a way, I could see IVF in my future. I was mentally, emotionally prepared as much as you can be. And I just didn't see this in my future. I did not know that I was not going to be able to carry my next baby after Lucy. And it is such a weird place to be so unbelievably grateful, but at the same time have this little bit of lingering sadness that you don't get to carry your next baby. But you guys know I cannot feel sorry for myself for more than 5 minutes in a row. And that drive to keep myself strong and healthy for Lucy took over, kept me on track. And the way I frame it, in conversations with other people, is ultimately, I want a baby. I don't want a pregnancy. Just like in the way that when you get married, you don't want a wedding, you want a marriage. And hopefully that makes sense to you guys the way it makes sense to me. Anyway, moving forward, we found an agency to work with to start the process to find a surrogate. And with the agency that we worked with, the process is basically the surrogate chooses first. She goes through all the information from all the families that they're working with, learns about each couple or family, what's their life like, just as much information to get to know them in that way, just reading about them, and also why they've come to this decision, why they need help growing their family. And once the surrogate picks a couple, they decide to meet, and after that meeting, the couple decides if they want to move forward. It's a really long process. It's all coordinated by the agency. There are tons of steps, tons of little checkpoints along the way, legal agreements, obviously, psychological testing, medical testing, your fertility doctor has to sign off for it to go forward at all. There are just tons of meetings, tons of calls, and this is all well before anything really gets going. It's definitely been a very long road and it hasn't all been easy. We've had bumps along the way, there's been delays, but overall we have just been so lucky with how everything has worked out. And we could not be more blessed with the surrogate that we matched with. She is the sweetest person. She's an awesome mom, and she's just super focused, go-getter, amazingly reliable, and I just trust her so much. And I'm so grateful because she's given me peace in a situation where anyone would have a lot of worry. It's like you're giving this precious gift to someone else to take care of, and obviously you're gonna worry. And I mean, it's not even just like that, it's exactly that. It just requires so much trust, and we are so blessed to have her. I mean, the women that decide to be a surrogate are just remarkable people. It takes a very special person. It is such a selfless thing to do, and I am just so grateful for her and her family every single day. I really feel like it's something that people don't understand, or a lot of people don't understand, but at the root, it's just the most selfless, generous thing that you can do, and it's been a miracle for us. So that's our big news. I am just over the moon excited, and even though we've been through so much and it's taken so long, I still can't believe it's already almost time. And there are just so many things that I'm excited for, but I feel like getting to see Lucy be a big sister is just gonna be the highlight of my entire life. Really, I'm just excited for everything, every little thing. I cannot wait. I'm so excited that I finally shared our big news with you guys. I really appreciate you guys being here to celebrate this big moment for my family. Okay, so before I go, I know sharing this could potentially ruffle some feathers, but for me, very early on, I had to accept that my life and now my family's life was going to be very different than a lot of people. And that doesn't make it any less. It doesn't make it any less worthy of celebration. And in my eyes, everything that we've been through to have our family just shows how loved and how wanted these babies are long before they're born. And I just wanted to approach this with openness and share our story. And in the future, I really want my kids to see our differences and be so proud of our family and accept and love our story so much that when they encounter someone that is not accepting, they immediately know that person is just wrong and they're just missing out. And with that said, please be kind and respectful in the comments, and I appreciate you guys being here so much. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next vlog. Bye.